Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. And my guest tonight is writer-director Jason Huls and actress Marina Schenk. Did I say that right?
Yep, that's correct.
All right. Let's talk about your indie horror film that's been going around the festivals, That Damned Yellow Raincoat. I also heard it's inspired by a real encounter, too. Can you tell me how you came up with that idea?
Sure, and first of all, Robin, thanks for having us on. Really appreciate it. Yes, so the story, I was in my home, in my living room, much like the character in the film, and I looked out the window, and there was a woman in a heavy yellow winter coat, and this was in, like, July, and it was summer.
That's weird.
85 out. There's a woman in a heavy yellow coat, all fastened up. She's got the hood, the headscarf, the sunglasses, the whole thing. She's on her phone, and she just keeps, sort of walking. And it was just such a striking image because, I mean, it's the middle of summer. And I get it. Maybe she's out for a walk on the phone, but just like the whole vision was so unusual and surreal. It never left me. So, I'm thinking about like, what I could do with that, and it just kept swirling, and it eventually turned into me playing with those ideas and turned into That Damned Yellow Raincoat.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. How did Marina, how'd you become part of it and become the demon in the film? Were you the main idea for this role?
I think so. We have a mutual friend named Paul, and I'm a huge horror movie buff, so I will do anything I can to like partake in anything horror related. So when Paul's like, "Hey, my buddy is doing a film, and he's looking for somebody to play the monster," I was like, "Oh my god, I want to play the monster! Like, yes, let's do this." And then I met Jason, and he's super cool. And it was just it was a fun time overall. So I'm really glad I got to partake in it with everybody there. So. Thank you, Jason.
Absolutely. No, I mean, we have been running sort of parallel with the same group of friends for a long time and have never crossed paths. So yeah, our friend Paul was like, "Hey, Marina's really into horror." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." She clearly gets what we're doing here. So yes. And it worked out great.
Yeah, Marina, how much was it fun since you got to play the creature and you kept on walking back and forth and from this house and tormenting, the main character? What was going through your head when you were walking back and forth while they were doing the filming? You were wearing that yellow raincoat. So was it during the winter season or was this like during a warm day when you were all dressed up like that?
I think it was it was last October, right? Yeah. So
yeah.
It was fall. It was a perfect day actually for it. It was sunny and perfect layers, and I was just like channeling my inner demons. Like, just, I want to be evil, but I'm evil naturally. It worked out to my favor.
Yeah, and the whole movie talked about like an unhappy marriage in an affair, with a sweet revenge twist to it as well, which was especially towards the ending. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but that threw me a curveball, I mean, it really did. I was like, whoa.
I mean, I'm glad to hear that. I don't want to spoil it either, but yeah, I mean, I'll just sort of be transparent here. The project kind of came together as a sort of knock the rust off project. For the past, handful of years, I've settled down, had a family, and so I've got kids now, and then COVID happened, and I'm like, man, I miss this. I need to get back out there and do something. And this was sort of the perfect sized film, and it allowed me to sort of reconnect with the professional contacts I have in filmmaking and sort of, in a sense, get the band back together a little bit. And so, like, it was a one-day shoot primarily, and I feel like everything clicked really well. I was really fortunate to get everybody who was there. I mean, they've all done a lot of stuff in their own right, and so just a really sort of perfect storm of circumstances.
Now, how'd you come up with that spell book Did you find that at a at a witchcraft type of store, or did you make the book and have some guy create some whacked out illustrations?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I ordered the physical book from Amazon. Yes, you can get spell books on Amazon now, but it's blank. It's blank, and so and not to go down a huge rabbit hole it's a divisive topic, but I was experimenting at the time with AI, and it was something that was new and came out sort of before. I understand, people's issue with it, but I needed 1 or 2 pages of a spell book. So I just played with it until I got something that looked good. I printed it on parchment. I burned the edges, glued it right into the book. So it was kind of my own quick creation with that assistance.
Hey, that looked pretty authentic. It looked like you could pick that up from one of those type of stores, just walking in there going, I'm going to use this for my film and see if this is really real.
If I'm just not connected to those stores, or I probably would have tried that.
I mean, Jason, but you're not talking about the best part of the book.
Yeah. Marina, you tell us the best part of the book. Go ahead.
Yes, that was the spell book. That, of course, the inside of the book, right? There is the romance novel cover for the very popular book, Tender is the Loin, by author Mike Bulge. Which is the dust jacket on the book. So we are getting into spoiler territory now, but that's okay. So I just spent some time working on creating the dust jacket. We got our mutual friend to pose as the author for the author photo. That was actually a lot of fun to make because it's just completely ridiculous. And I was actually a little concerned after I made it. And I showed up to shoot with it, and our friend, again, our mutual friend Paul here, he looks at it and he's like, dude, this is pretty funny. Like, are you sure that you want something that's, like, it might be distracting, that it's that weird looking and funny? But I think it plays. I don't regret it because it is kind of, it's good for a laugh,
That's great. Yeah. I didn't even notice until you guys pointed it out. I thought it was a real thing. And somebody's like, that's Mike. And I was like, what? Genius.
Shoot, that should have been
Mike Bulge.
Hey, that should have been my picture on the book, man. I look more like the crazy author.
Hey, we can make more movies. That's okay.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
room on another book cover.
Yeah, you put me on a book cover. I'll do a sophisticated pose or something. Now let's talk about the special effects, especially the demonic special effects from Marina. How she looked very demonic. Mm-hmm. How'd you come up with the special effects of that? And I also kind of like it. It was, you kind of used a little bit of practical effects too, which was pretty cool too. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just first say. A lot of YouTube tutorials. I'm always, I'm into horror, like horror and sci-fi. So I'm kind of always looking at what people are doing with After Effects. And, I knew I wanted to do this movie, and I was pretty confident that I could pull it off if you only see the creature in a couple shots. So there's kind of a progression of the creature turning from Marina into, demon form. And so the first incarnation of her is completely CG. And it was just me, on my laptop, spending a lot of time making that happen, which was fun. I learned a ton doing that. And I'm just happy that it turned out kind of the way I wanted. And then when you see full-blown demon, that is actually just a mask, like a pretty straightforward Halloween mask that I did effects, like CG effects over. So it was just a couple of different methods, both of which are pretty straightforward, pretty cheap.
I want to tell you something. Marina is a demon, man. How she looked, her facial gestures and her mannerisms, man, she freaked the little shit out of me, man. And it's really hard to freak. That look on her eyes and how she had those facial expressions, man, you can tell she was really legit into it and really having one hell of a time with that.
I was told to not choke as hard. I was like, ooh, sorry.
Oh, I felt that when the demon was choking him. Trust me. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Let's also talk about the music score. I love the score. It was kind of like a little eerie and creepy vibe too on certain shots.
Mm-hmm. That is a longtime friend of mine, a collaborator, Peter Walbeck. He is he's a total pro. I did my first movie with him, I think, over 10 years ago now. And every experience I have with him he's just so easy to work with. And his instincts for what to do with the score are so good. So, like, if there's a change, he's very easily makes the change. But there's rarely any changes. So I feel like we're in sync a lot when it comes to the score. And for this one, there's some moments, some punctuations that I feel like he kind of brings something unique, like a unique sound to it.
I also in your film, I like the editing of the film, how you edited it all together. It was pretty solid, the editing part of the film too.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, my day job, sort of for the past 16 years, I'm in video production at a university. So I have my hands and my head in the video production world pretty much all the time. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, it was a lot of fun to edit. Everybody, the performances were so good that it's sort of the good problem to have, It's like there's all this good stuff and you get to kind of play and have more options with the performances that way.
Now, Marina, let's get into some other business too. I mean, I can tell you're like a diehard horror junkie, and I'm gonna pick your brain, man.
Okay.
So what really got you into the horror? Some people ask that question, be like, what was your film? I don't want to know what film got into it. What got you really into it and really made you fall in love with the world of horror?
Well, probably trauma. To be honest, I grew up with three brothers, and they would take me to the movie theaters at a very young age. And so I think I saw Halloween 4 in theaters, and I was 4 years old. And I came home, and I just stared at a wall for a good hour, thinking Michael Myers is going to kill me tonight. Because he's chasing this little girl, and I just become obsessed with the idea of that exhilarating feeling of that it's not your normal day-to-day thing. There are killers in this world. And the thing that's scariest is Michael Myers was technically a person, right? He wasn't a monster until the later films where he's just magical. But it really just intrigued me, and this feeling of fear of a technically human being from Illinois, right? And then just having my brothers watching horror movies all the times and playing video games that are based on horror. Really a lot of fun, and it gets you excited. I'm all about the other games that people play, strategy games and whatnot, but it's the funnest games are the survival horror because it's a challenge and it's thrilling, just like movies, like horror movies.
I can also picture you going out in the middle of nowhere and taking the survivalist course too.
I like glamping, okay? I would do the Jason Voorhees camp thing that they have, where they actually get chased around by Jason Voorhees. I would try that, maybe.
Do you think you would be the final girl?
Oh, I'm definitely the final girl, 100% final girl. I know what's up, I know what to do. I am Matthew Lillard, but not that side of Matthew Lillard, if you know what I'm talking about. Not I'm the Matthew Lillard, but I'm the survivor, not the bad guy. Because I know everything that's going to happen. I know what to not do. I will not answer that door if nobody's expected at my house. I will not trip. I have weapons. Not dangerous weapons, just, little things here and there.
Oh, sure. I bet you probably have a machete behind your door.
I have a master sword, okay? There's a difference.
Are you specially skilled in that master sword?
No, not at all. I'm skilled at more so outsmarting people when it comes to villains. Like, if I were to have to battle anybody, it'd probably be the Leprechaun, because I could be his friend at the end of the day.
I can picture that. And another thing is, we talked about before we got on too, is you're a huge Neil Gaiman Sandman fan. What got you to fall in love with Neil Gaiman in the Sandman series?
Well, the Sandman series, just like off the bat, the artwork. I was a Neil Gaiman fan before the Sandman series. I believe the first book I picked up was Neverwhere, and
Good
I
book.
just fell in love with it. Yeah, it's more like sci-fi and whimsical, and I just thought it was such a cool book. And I took it to concerts with me. It was by the end of it, it was covered in blood and coffee. And I'm like, this is the book with characters and character. And then American Gods, of course, and then I moved on to his comics, which were also really great. Very different, but still just as great as the books were. He wasn't married to Amanda Palmer. I know there's like a divide between people of if they like Amanda Palmer or not, but I like Amanda Palmer. I like her music. I'm not gonna judge her lifestyle, but.
And something that's all good. Everybody has their taste now.
Yeah.
I mean.
The Dresden Dolls, they're so good.
Yeah. All right, Jason, let's talk about you. So do you have that like nerdy and geeky passion in yourself besides, filmmaking and all that great stuff?
Oh yeah, I would say so. I mean, my the sort of genesis of me getting into horror movies and whatnot was role-playing games. So, I mean, I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons. And,
yes.
Then sort of morphing into horror games. And my friends and I would game like literally 6 nights a week. And, in the sort of high school days. So that hobby easily translates to, okay, now we go see all the horror movies, So that's kind of how I got into it.
So, of the role playing, I played a lot of role playing too. I played D&D in high school too. I was one of those D&D nerds that people thought we were like the kids of the Island of Misfit Toys, but I was cool with that. But I always played a lot of chaotic neutral characters because those were the best. Now, since you're playing role playing, did you ever play Vampire the Masquerade?
Sure. Yeah. We played Vampire. I went to one. I didn't play in it, but I was present for one of the live action things, which looked pretty wild because there was a lot of people playing at that thing. But yeah, I mean, I played that one for probably one or two solid campaigns. So yeah, I'm familiar with that.
And also, since you've learned a lot from role playing game, because you can create great stories, did that also help with your filmmaking career as well? To get all that wild imagination.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think role playing keeps your imagination sharp. I mean, you're constantly creating with your friends, and you're constantly reacting, and if you're running the game, there's tons of preparation and trying to get these people to kind of go along with your adventure without making it, you're trying to get them to choose the thing that you've got planned without making them feel like they're choosing it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of work to it. And I mean, nowadays, obviously the industry has sort of exploded and people are able to sort of monetize their gaming careers and whatnot. It's a pretty exciting time, I think, to be involved with the hobby. I wish I was more involved with it now, like I used to be. But yeah, I have nothing but positive things to say about just the role-playing industry and the hobby itself. And
I bet you when you shoot certain scenes in your horror films, I bet you have that 20 die, so you like roll. It's like, if it's a natural 20, we're going to do this brutal scene, right?
I should start doing it. I should start carrying my dice. I still have. I don't know if it's around here on my desk, but like I have my original dice box that I got when I was like 8 years old. I've got dice that are like 35 years old at this point. So yeah, I've got my antique collection, I guess they are now. But I should bring them. That's a good idea.
Why not? And give one. Yeah, you like when you have Marina in another film as like a demonic entity or a ghostly witch or something like that. She should have a natural 22 to tell you what to write. It's like, if I wrote this, if I wrote this 20, she's like, if I wrote this 20, I get to do this type of brutal kill, and you got to make it.
There we go. We're leaving the filmmaking up to chance. I like it.
Yeah, or it's a good idea for a movie. It's like thinking about like the Wishmaster series,
where
it's like a gem, but what about a dice? Like,
or why not? Or make a short horror film about a DoorDash driver. He's minding his own business, and all of a sudden you see some crazy guy escape from the psychiatric ward that hops in his back seat while the dude's door dashing.
like kind of like a Jumanji type style.
It could be it, and you'd be like, so what? And you don't see him. He puts like something in the delivery bag, and the guy's like delivering to the door, going, okay.
I like it.
Are you that DoorDash driver?
Oh, I do that. Hey, I do that on the side. That's my fun money. I got a regular job, but that's my fun job. And boy, I could probably write a horror film of all the different experiences I've had from DoorDash. And man, I could write a New York Times bestseller list, man.
Oh, I bet.
I'm sure.
Like I said, you see some crazy stuff. Okay, so do you think independent horror is getting more popular now? Because you're seeing more indie films on the big screen now. You think it's finally on fire?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I can just speak from where I sit. The tools to make a film obviously are out there. It's ubiquitous now. Everybody can get their hands on a camera or an iPhone or whatever, and make something really great. So the entry into the industry is easier than ever, right?
Yeah.
But that also makes it harder to sort of rise above the noise or to get attention on your project. I think just again, speaking as a sort of an independent creator, I think it's tough, and I think it's going to remain tough. Making the product, easier than ever. Distributing it, it's also easy. Marketing it, that's the nut to crack. How to get the attention on it. So, I mean, that's something I'm kind of always studying, and trying to see what works for other people and how they've marketed their movie, because that's the part of things that a lot of people aren't, when they get into filmmaking, that they're not thinking like, oh, I'm passionate about marketing, like that's just not what they're in it for. But you kind of have to be, So I think it's awesome that so many people can do it, and that like you have, places on YouTube that curate these amazing collections, and that creators are able to get things out to people. I just see the challenge is getting the eyeballs on it.
I totally agree with you. That's for anything, from making a film, or it could be anything, or trying to be like a critic, or for me as a podcaster. I mean, like you said, that's important. You got to sell yourself out there, because if you don't get out there and pay those dues and learn climbing up that ladder, you're not going to get anywhere.
For sure. And I think, it can be disheartening when you're spent, 2 years making this film that you love, and it looks great and it sounds great and it's tight and everything's going well, and it gets crickets, and then the cat video gets 14 million views. That can be disheartening for people. So, it's interesting. I'm interested to see how things develop over the years, the next few years. I think YouTube is going to be big. It is huge, obviously, but I think for indie creators, I think building your own platform the best you can and distributing to your audience directly is going to be one of the only really viable ways if you're looking for money. If not, then that's, your concerns are different.
I totally agree with you on that if you're not serious about it. I mean, that's like me. I go to a lot of horror film festivals and regular independent film festivals. I mean, I travel everywhere just to get out there, to share the stories of the independent filmmakers so they can get their story out there and their film out there, the films that I'm interested in, and there's a lot of critics that are very hard on independent horror, because they don't understand how long it took you to write it, how long to film it, all the stuff you did. Like you said earlier, you think this would be like your masterpiece, but, to some other people, instead of being an honest, reviewer on it, they totally slam on it saying this film is crap. And you don't do that to anybody's film. I mean, you can respect the filmmaker and say, hey, this is why I didn't like about the film. This is what you should have did in this, and this is what I like about the film. But you got a lot of critics out there. I'm not saying all of them that just like to trash on the film because they just don't respect that filmmaker.
Oh yeah, I mean that's an unfortunate trend, and that's sort of the easy way to go to try to get attention on your own platform, your own critic, platform. I don't really find much value in bagging on other people's work. You just try to understand where they're coming from and what they're doing, and just completing a film period is an achievement.
It is.
It's really hard, and it takes so much from a lot of people. So that in and of itself, I think, should be celebrated.
I think so too. So, Marina, where can what are some of your next projects? Do you do a lot of horror films or do you do a mix of stuff?
I've done just a few things here and there, but I'm really hoping to work with Jason again in the future because it was so much fun. And yeah, I'm probably gonna do some like plays and stuff within Chicago. I'm taking acting classes to get more experience. There's not too many horror or sci-fi companies in Chicago, but there's this one called The Other Worlds, I think it's called, and like they even have like a play this Christmas that focuses around cats and roaches.
Cats and roaches.
Okay, like.
So are you gonna play a demented cat lady?
I'm already a demented cat lady, so there's no playing there. But yeah, I'm probably gonna finish up at Second City and then start doing some stuff with them as well once I run through all the programs. But yeah, hopefully some more shorts, and then maybe eventually a feature-length film. We'll see.
What's your next project, Jason?
I have a lot on my plate, actually. And first of all, yes, absolutely. Marina and I have talked. I really want something to happen again. We have some ideas that we were kicking around. But I have several other short ideas that are sort of That Damned Yellow Raincoat size that I would like to do because they're doable, for where I'm at in life right now. I have a feature screenplay that's ready to go if we can find funding for it.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the big issue. So I do have that ready. So I think probably some of those shorts I'd like to get those out and just kind of keep myself out there as best I can.
So where can they find you guys on social media so they know what you guys are doing next?
I am at Jason Huls, that's Huls, at just about everything across all the social platforms. I have an author site, which is jasonhulswrites.com, and my video production site is 10wingmedia.com. Any one of those would be great to connect with people. And it's also 10 Wing Media on YouTube, where I tend to post a lot of things.
I definitely subscribe to your channel. So, I'm going to see what you're going to be doing next. I mean, hey, why not?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where can everybody find you, Marina?
I'm Zelda's Revenge on Instagram, and then on Facebook, Marina Schenk. And then I have a variety of YouTube pages, but nothing worth sharing just yet. Soon, though.
Ooh, I can't wait. I'll be definitely stalking those channels.
Yeah, I have some projects up there.
All right. You guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh,
This is fun.
thank you. I really appreciate this. This is great.
Anytime. And everybody, thank you for listening to Horror Pop After Midnight.